The equity argument for God is an argument I came up with in order to share my reason for having faith in the triune God of Christianity. This argument can be explained with 10 premises. Allow me to share. Premise number 1. All people throughout all time deserve justice and fairness. Premise number 2. All people throughout all time don't experience justice and fairness. Premise number 3, either justice and fairness for all people throughout all time is just wishful thinking, or justice and fairness for all people throughout all time will eventually happen. Premise number 4, if justice and fairness for all people throughout all time is just wishful thinking, then injustice and unfairness must be accepted as normal. Premise number 5, if justice and fairness for all people throughout all time will eventually happen, then who has the power to establish justice and fairness for all people throughout all time? Premise number 6, in order for someone to establish justice and fairness for all people throughout all time, that someone must be a judge who is at least morally perfect, omnipotent, omniscient, perfectly wise, omnipresent, sovereign, immutable, transcendent, and personal. Now, you might ask, why are these attributes necessary? I'll explain. Morally perfect. You must be perfectly good in order to be absolutely qualified to judge all people for all their wrongdoings. Omnipotent. You must be absolutely powerful in order to hold all people throughout all time accountable for all their wrongdoings. Omniscient. You must know absolutely everything in order to justly and fairly judge every human being. Perfectly wise. You must make the absolute best decisions in all situations. Omnipresent. You must be absolutely aware of every situation of every human being throughout all time in order to justly and fairly judge every human being. Sovereign. You must have absolute authority in order to judge every human being. Immutable. You must be absolutely consistent and impartial with the perfect standard you will judge every human being by. Transcendent. You must be outside of time in order to completely see the end from the beginning. Personal. You must be able to completely relate to the beauty of goodness and the depravity of corruption. Let's continue with premise number 7. Premise number 7. The standard to measure justice and fairness by must be a standard of perfect goodness. Premise number 8. Anyone who violates the standard of perfect goodness will be found guilty. Only those who are perfect will be considered innocent. Premise number 9. If we are found guilty, then we can safely assume we will have to face harsh consequences for violating the perfect standard of goodness. Premise number 10. However, there is good news. Because the judge is also loving, forgiving, merciful, and gracious, we can avoid facing those consequences. We have the option of becoming perfect, which will make us innocent. In order to become perfect, though, there are 3 steps we must take. Step number 1. Get to know the judge, or seek God. Step number 2, accept his pardon, or repent and have faith in Jesus. Step number 3, become a part of his family, or be a child of God. Also, many people will say that an all-powerful and all-loving God doesn't exist because if he did, he will stop all the injustice in the world. However, stopping injustice isn't the only way to show love. Another way of showing love is by making everything right in the end. Why do I believe God is loving even though he doesn't stop all the injustice in the world? Because he said that he will make everything right in the end by establishing justice and fairness for all people throughout all time. Plus, God never said he will stop all the injustice in the world, which means he must have a reason for allowing it, but he did say quite a bit about establishing justice. I will end with sharing some Bible verses about God's view on justice. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.